Okay, well, welcome to Southampton, and thank you for talking to Two Finger Media today. Your new album, The One Man Blues Rock Band, is your first live album,
Yes.
I believe. What made this the right time for you to release a live album rather than studio?
First of all, I didn't have any songs ready. But I've been wanting to release a live album for about 20 years. My first album came out in 1997, and I put out 9 studio albums, and between each album I'd record some shows, thinking I was going to release a live album, but I was never like totally satisfied. So, but this time it was different because I've done a lot of shows with this one-man band thing in the past 6 or 7 years. I must have done like 800 shows, and the more you do it, the better you get at it. So
it's honed to a level where you're happy with it. You thought, right?
Well, I recorded 4 shows in the last year, and I ended up using the last one of the tour.
It's strange because sometimes November. It's like the first, isn't it?
Well, I thought I had the album because I had a really good night in Montreal at Club Soda back in March 2017, and it was also filmed, so I thought I'd release a CD and DVD, but there were a few songs, like 2 songs that I thought that the tempos were a bit too fast, so I thought, I'll just record a few more shows. After the last time I was here in the fall opening for Wishbone Ash, and so right after that tour I had like 4 shows in Canada. I recorded 2 of them, and the last show of the tour was the one I ended up using, and it was much better than the one that I had done in Montreal. This one was in Quebec City, and the sound was better, the performances were better, the singing was better, so I ended up using everything from that night.
I mean, I've listened to the album quite a few times now over the past month, probably, since I received it. And I love live albums anyway. To me, there's no better experience to see a band or to see an artist than see them live.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult sometimes with the way CDs, records are recorded to duplicate that onto that sort of format. With a live album, especially your one, it sounds so real and so raw, like you're actually there. There's no sort of overdubbing so much.
Of course not. I don't even do overdubs when I do studio albums.
But there's nothing hidden. It is what it is, and you get that experience of actually being at a live show. So it's, in my opinion, it's great. I love it. The one-man band thing. How did that all come about? Because I'm guessing you were in a group at some point.
Yeah, well, I put out 6 albums before I started this one-man band thing. It was always called Steve Hill, but I had musicians playing with me, and I thought I'd do that till the day I die. I never wanted to be a one-man band. Never thought I could do it.
Because
to tell you the truth,
if you said one-man band, especially to people over this,
well, you think boom,
yeah, you think cymbals between your knees, bass drum.
This is different. That's why it's called a one-man blues rock band. But what happened is that 7 years ago. Well, there's like 2 stories that really explain why I started to do it. The first story is that I collect guitars, and I got this friend of mine. He's like my guitar pusher. He buys and sells.
Just drops a little hint every now and again.
Yeah, exactly. And he came to my place with a 1956 Gibson ES 225, and I didn't have any money at the time. I was broke, and I really wanted that guitar, so. He offered to organize a show in his hometown, Drummondville, Quebec, in exchange for the guitar. So I said, all right, let's do this. So
your arm wasn't twisted very far.
Yeah, so I did a solo show, because he's an old friend of mine. We've known each other for like 25 years, and I used to do solo shows back when I was 17, 18, playing pubs. It was just guitar and vocals. But he wanted to see that again. So that's why, we did the trade, and I did the show. I was just foot stomping. I put a mic on the floor, and I tapped my foot to keep rhythm, and to add to the guitar and the vocals. And I had a great time doing it. I hadn't done anything like that in almost 20 years.
I guess it takes you back to your roots.
Yeah, exactly. And then 3 weeks after that, I released an album called Whiplash Love, and it was a really good record. I think I had really good songs on it, but the record company didn't do any promotion. The way it works in Canada is that they get grant money, and then but they didn't get the grant, so they didn't do any promotion, and I was broke at the time. And since the album bombed, I needed to find a way to pay the bills, because I didn't have enough shows, obviously, and so and it was getting hard for me to, I was paying the band, I was paying the crew, and then I had nothing left,
Yes.
and so I decided to do solo shows, like I did in Drummondville, in exchange for the guitar. I told my agent, I told him, like, I just did this solo show, and it was fun, it was great. Just book some pubs, smaller places, and I'll just go there by myself.
And the outlay, of course, was just you then. So
exactly.
So whatever you brought in.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Give you that little.
And I'm a studio owner, so I figured, like after a few of those shows, I figured I'll just do a solo album like this, live in the studio, and sell it at those concerts. And eventually that album became Solo Recordings Volume 1, which outsold everything that I'd done before. And it won in Memphis at the International Blues Challenge Blues Album of the Year, got a Juno nomination, which is the Canadian Grammy, and I ended up doing 175 shows with that record. And people kept asking me, when are you going to release Volume 2? And the reason why I call it Volume 1 is that I thought, 10 years from now, if I don't want to do something again, I'll just call it Volume 2, because I always have a hard time coming up with album titles.
It's perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
But then I did Volume 2. It did even better than Volume 1. It won the Juno, won the Maple Blues Award for Blues Album of the Year. It won everything. For about 2 years, I won everything you can win in Canada with that record. And then I did Volume 3, and I just kept adding stuff. So on Volume 1, it's just guitar, vocals, and a bass drum, hi-hat also on some songs. But then by Volume 2, I had a snare drum and a cymbal, and I started modifying my guitar so you hear a bass sound. And
so it's basically that all the solo recordings are an evolution of
exactly.
the sound we hear now.
Yeah, and then the live album is really like the culmination of all that.
Yeah, so we now get the finished article from all
exactly, because like some of those songs.
4-year period or something.
The Volume 1 came out 6 years ago.
Right.
So it's like 100 shows later, And when I did Volume 1, I'd write a song, go down to the studio, and within a day or two it was recorded. With Volume 2 it became a bit more intricate, but still, like I hadn't played these songs a lot, but now, like, these songs, to me, the definitive versions of all of these songs are on the live album.
Yeah, because you've created and evolved them over the years.
Exactly.
And now how you
how
you assume they're
sometimes the problem with live albums is that bands do overdubs and all of that in the studio, and it's all like produced and all that stuff. But I record live in the studio, so it's the same thing. But now the songs have evolved so much, and the fact that I'm playing them in front of an audience, changes the energy.
I mean,
of course.
Talking about that, I mean, you're over here obviously at the moment. You're supporting King, and I think Danny Bryant as well.
Yeah.
Now, does that give you as an artist a great opportunity to reach a whole new audience?
Of course. Yeah.
And
first time I was here was 6 months ago, opening for Wishbone Ash, and now I'm opening for King and Danny Bryant, and I'm coming back in November, and I have headlining gigs in November.
I was just about to say, can we look forward to some headline shows?
Yeah.
So later in the year,
November.
That'd be fantastic. I mean, I think your brand of music as well, in the UK and that especially at the moment, and Europe as well, the blues style. I mean, I don't like to call it blues because there's so many different influences.
Yeah,
but your style is so strong at the moment. There's some fantastic bands not playing the same type of sound, but the same type of music.
Yeah.
And,
well,
and
it seems to be doing really well in Germany and the UK, and I mean the reaction's been great.
I think people just also appreciate an artist who can, well, like yourself, you've got nowhere to hide. It's just you and your instruments on a stage, and I think people appreciate how you do that, and the fact that you do that, and the fact that you come all the way over here from Canada, which is obviously no short trip, and to perform for us guys. 'Cause, and I think the UK audience and the European audience certainly appreciate live music more than a lot of other people that I've ever
They
known.
do, they do. I mean, there's this culture of going to see concerts. It's still there, probably more than in Canada.
I mean, talk about Canada for a bit. Obviously, it's a huge country. Compared,
Yeah, but
certainly
nobody
compared to
showed
the UK.
up.
What's it like? I mean, because we've got a big festival mentality over here and in Europe. What's it like in Canada for that?
Bunch of festivals also, and you know, like back home in Montreal and province of Quebec, you know, the winters are so long that in the summertime, you know, people go crazy, and there's always a festival going on. You know, one ends and another one starts, and you know, it's a festival of festivals in the summertime in Quebec. You know.
So I reviewed an album by Angel Forest. I
Yeah,
believe. She's
a friend of mine.
singer.
I played a song on her last record.
Oh, it's a fantastic, again, a live album.
No, the one before that, the last studio record. I played a song on that.
It's a live album that I listened to. I think
Okay, I haven't heard it.
And it's really, really good.
Okay.
Again, that raw, pure sound, same as what you brought with this
Uh-huh.
latest album. So maybe it's a Canadian thing,
I
a
don't
trait
know.
that just works.
Well, a lot of there's a lot of people in Canada releasing blues albums at the moment. My buddy Matt Anderson just released one. J.W. Jones got one coming up. Like you mentioned, Angel just came up with one. It seems to be a good idea at the time, I guess.
So with the writing process, obviously being a one-man band, is it all you, or do you collaborate on songs with anybody else?
Sometimes I collaborate. I got this friend of mine called Josh Bartlett that we've been working together for like 21 years, writing songs together. Most of my songs I write by myself, but then I sometimes finish them with Josh, or we like The Collector. That's a song that we totally wrote together. I write the music and we write the lyrics together.
Because I'm assuming it must be quite difficult sometimes, just trying to rely on your own thought. I mean, it's great for ideas, but then obviously there's always someone.
It's
brings
great to have
else.
somebody else to finish the work, you know, because I come up with a lot of riffs, a lot of song ideas, you know, but I don't finish them all. You know, I don't have time to finish them all.
You need someone else to help you marry.
Well,
the things
sometimes
together
it helps, you know.
But however you do it, it certainly works. Obviously, look, you're talking about
Thank you.
solo recordings. That's evolved into something now. I mean, I guess still being volumes. Is that still something that may well go back to in the future?
We'll see what happens.
Watch this space for that.
I
one.
have no idea what the next project is going to be. I got a bunch of songs. Could be an acoustic album. I've been doing some work with the Montreal Symphonic Orchestra lately.
Fantastic.
We did with Kent Nagano and the Montreal Symphonic Orchestra. We did a guitar concerto written by an American composer, and we did it in February. We're doing it again in September, and you know, it's given me ideas. You know, like, so it could be just me with strings, or it could be like a band record. I don't know.
Could have a full orchestra behind you on stage.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
There's more and more rock bands certainly going down the route playing with an orchestra lately. That seems to be more of a, not a trend, but something that's happening more and more.
Okay.
I've noticed it, and it's a great, as long as it's, instead of being a gimmick, something that's cool.
It's got
at
to
the
serve
time.
the music. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. And you have.
But I got a bunch of songs. I spent a month and a half in California about a year and a half ago, and I wrote some songs there. Basically, I went camping for 3 weeks by myself, and I bought a guitar and I wrote songs. And you know, these songs are acoustic, and I could always hear like other instruments on them, but not like the regular rock band, or not necessarily what I do as a one-man band. You know, like I can hear strings and stuff like that. So that could happen at some point. I'd like to do that.
Well, it sounds exciting. And at the end of the day, you have to be happy with what you're doing, and you do seem very focused now and very enjoying the music.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bringing the music over to the UK, and I guess you're going to Europe this year at all? Or?
Yes, in November also.
So,
We're
okay,
doing
so
Europe
you're
and the
touring
UK
corporates.
in November.
Well, those guys are going to love you, no doubt, and the One Man Blues Band show is hitting the road now, and I think everybody should get out, and if they can, see you with either King or Danny Bryant, or November, stay tuned for some headline shows which I'm guessing will be announced on your social
On my
media.
website, stevehillmusic.com. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that stuff.
That's great.
And the new album will be out May 11th.
And definitely go and buy that because it's awesome. I've heard it and it's fantastic. So, Steve, thank you for talking to Two Finger Media today, and have a great show tonight. Cheers, buddy.